If they knew the truth, all those wailing, bleeding, praying wretches who spend their every waking moment debasing themselves in the deluded belief he hears them, then they would hurl themselves screaming from the top of the nearest tower. If they saw him for only but the briefest of moments, the shortest amount of time in which to truly perceive him in his true state, they would bury their fingernails into their sockets and gore their own eyes out. If any of them, even just one of the countless billions of ignorant, superstitious, squalid little humans that fester in line for actual years, just for a glimpse of the eternity gate, could comprehend the gravity of the horror beyond it, their feeble minds would liquefy and dribble from their ears and nose. But they cannot, nor will they ever know or see what I have, for the lie is salvation from the nightmarish truth, and for their ignorance, I hate them. Despite all the hardship and toil they must endure, and their short, suffering lives they are burdened with, they are granted the blissful mercy of ignorance. They, the unwashed mass of humanity, shall never know the truth, for to know it would break them. From birth, I was tutored and instructed in the ways of the machine, my masters granting me insight into the technological, the scientific, the mechanical, and the arcane. For over 200 years, I studied the lessons every generation of my line had also been educated in. 10,000 years of continuous servitude. Through every age of his Imperium, reaching back to the distant past, to before Terra was unified and was still known as Old Earth, my ancestors swore themselves to him when he called on them for aid. With a vision of a unified mankind, not just of the home world, but across the stars, he awoke the fires of inspiration and intrigue. My ancestors, who called themselves Clan Darawat, wished to join the Golden Stranger and be at his side. Since then, through the rise and the fall and the fading of the light, each generation has renewed their oaths to him. How I envy those who served when he still walked amongst the living, to share in the technological marvels rediscovered from old night, to relearn forgotten arts of science, to innovate and experiment, and push the boundaries of human understanding and knowledge. How I do envy the dead, for not only did they see mankind glorious and resurgent in a rising age of possibility, but they passed before it all was turned to ash, falling between our fingers. Ignorance truly is bliss. Now I do what none then would have dared consider. I perform the tasks not one of those ancient techno-magi could even fathom being a necessity. I am Tenzin 254, and it is my duty to keep the Emperor of Mankind from dying. I have performed my tasks diligently for the last 5 Terran decades. Nothing less will suffice, and failure to maintain the prescribed standard of my work would not only dishonor the name of my line, it would cost me my life. Lobotomization and conversion into a mindless servitor would be my swift and immediate punishment. It is mercifully rare, but I have seen it done on more than one occasion. Neither arrogance nor ignorance regarding one's responsibilities to the Golden Throne will be tolerated. Our duty to him supersedes our own egos and desires. Only his continued survival matters, hour by hour, day after day. I am Senioris Major for recycling of interarterial vitae, decontamination and readministering. My duty is to monitor the hemovitaneous levels of the Emperor for signs of infection, be they bacterial or virological. The throne room is routinely sterilized every 9 minutes by an aerosolized antiseptic mist, but our enemy is as cunning as it is relentless, and intruders do find their way in. Just as the Custodes, the master of mankind's guardians, watch for direct threats to his body, so too do we at the microscopic. I do not perform this task alone, however. Under my supervision are 12,000 Minoris adepts, each one as diligent and as dedicated as I to our duty. The adepts are assigned one of 4 tasks they will perform with 2,999 of their colleagues. Hemovitaneous cell analysis screens the Emperor's blood for contaminants hourly. Confirmation, either accurate or anomalous, is recorded, submitted for future study, and decontamination and purification protocols are enacted. Interarterial decontamination and purification extract the Emperor's blood by 1 part in 100 at a time. The ritual of cleansing is then performed. 4.16 parts of the Master of Mankind's blood can be processed in a Terran hour. It takes a single day to ensure his blood is contamination-free, by which point the process begins once more. There was a time when this was required once every several days, but in recent centuries it has become a daily necessity. Biocodexation receives all data retrieved during vitae treatments and categorizes it into grades gamma, beta, and alpha. This information will then be committed to parchment by servo-scribes for archival posterity. Additional analysis of inconsistent readings presenting possible anomalies in the Emperor's biology are also recorded and reported to their respective Senioris Major for their attention. Finally, resanguination will administer the cleansed and purified vitae back into the Emperor's cardiovascular system. Of all the processes required to maintain the master of mankind upon the throne, this is the most intensely monitored. Whilst mercifully rare, the archives do tell of occasions when the Emperor's heart has weakened from the stress and strain. A precisely calculated formula of elixirs are administered throughout the resanguination to better aid the Emperor during the procedure. My duty is to ensure all of this happens precisely as it has for the last 10 millennia, just as my forebears did in times past, as was their vow, as is mine. All the responsibility I can bear, the scrutiny and ever-present observation of his custodies, even the occasional whispers that emanate from the direction of the sealed webway portal. I carry all these burdens with an enduring willpower, born of my duty to him. Yet, what I cannot tolerate, not even for a moment, is to gaze upon the corpse enthroned. Mine and all of humanity's Lord and Master resplendent. I love him for his sacrifice made in mankind's name, and for his eternal vigilance. But for what he has become, for what he now is, to stand in his terrible deathless majesty, I hate him. It isn't the parchment-thin, desiccated flesh, or his emaciated form that I despise. Neither is it the wounds evident upon his body, inflicted by the arch-traitor Horus, 1,000 curses unto him, that have never truly healed, that seize my heart and cause my blood to run cold. Nor is it the endless whirring, screeching, groaning cacophony of ancient unknowable mechanisms echoing through the vastness of the imperial dungeon, their mournful metal chorus akin to a funeral dirge, as much mocking the Emperor's state as tolling his final hour, a callous reminder of the eternal battle we wage against his finality. No, none of these things repulse me when compared to the horror that one finds when they stare into his eyes. No true eyes remain. They rotted away to dust millennia ago. Even flesh barely clings to the edges of the sockets anymore. The brittle fibers of the skin remaining threaten to peel away in even the slightest breeze. For this reason is the throne room kept neutrally pressurized to adjust and counter any errant airflow. What is left are 2 empty holes of which both are impossibly black, depthless like an abyss. To stare into them is to peer not into the void, but into a singularity. No light, no stars, no wonder, no majesty. To gaze into those craters of endless darkness is to feel the impossible weight of nothing. It is total and complete emptiness. It is the antithesis of everything he ever was. So the secret histories tell us. Progress, understanding, ambition, survival, vitality, inspiration, power, charisma, ingenuity, wisdom, fire, hope. Everything he was, everything he promised, the future mankind could have, should have had, all but assured, all of it gone, turned to dust and blown away, just like his eyes. When you stare into those infinite pits of nothing, you feel everything he no longer is. You feel everything humanity almost had, and you feel it ripped away, leaving you rent and riven and grieving for a time you never knew, yet still can feel. I have looked into the broken windows of his soul, and what I saw terrified me so that had I not been in possession of a logic cogitator hardwired into my amygdala, I would have been driven to madness. It is not that he has no soul that haunts me and leads me to dread standing in his presence, lest I suffer the grave misfortune of seeing it again. On the contrary, the awful truth is I do not just see the Emperor's soul, I see all their souls. The thousands upon thousands of souls who have been sacrificed to feed him. I see into a place where time no longer holds sway, and I witness 10,000 years of unimaginable agony. It coalesces and swirls in maddening tides until I cannot tell which is his pain and which is that of the billions of psychers sacrificed to sustain him. I see them all. I hear them, screaming, crying, begging, scared and alone, terrified, pleading, cursing, damning, hating, accusing. They are young and old, men and women, fathers, mothers, daughters, sons, highborn, lowborn, rich and poor, brave and cowardly, kind and cruel. So many voices, so many faces, all of whom both know and don't know their fate, and above them all, he shines, like a blazing star of unlight, a black hole reversed. The souls are drawn to him, dragged to him, charmed and enticed, shackled and chained, welcomed into his embrace, hooked and wrenched into his clutches. They are as moths to a flame, going inexorably to their end. I watch as the greatest of all men to ever live, the pinnacle of humankind and master of an entire species, gluts himself upon the innocent and the guilty alike. The man who denied his divinity, revealed as the parasite god. He feasts alone, devouring souls as greedily and as rapaciously as a starving beggar, all majesty abandoned at the trough of blood given unwillingly. He feeds and feeds and feeds and feeds, gorging himself until bloated. The warrior king transfigured into the gluttonous tyrant. and still he demands more, more, more. I serve in maintaining the functions of the corpse upon the throne, so that the throne may maintain the abomination of his soul. My duty allows this to transpire, day after day, year after year. Of course, I have always known of the soul draining, of the 1,000 psychers sacrificed daily so that he may never truly die. But to see it, to see the other side and the true awful fate of those souls, to learn the darkest of all revelations, the truth of what he has become. That is a weight one can only bear if they are willing to amputate their compassion, to excise it from themselves, and leave it to wither and expire. Perhaps now you understand why I hate the common folk of the Imperium for their blessed ignorance, for truly it is a wondrous gift. None know of what I have seen. Never would I reveal it, for who would be wont to believe such a thing? I would be condemned and branded a heretic, stripped of my title and rank, and suffer the fate of immolation, or worse. None can know this truth, and yet I do wonder, in the brief periods of rest I am afforded, the Emperor still communes with his chosen, be they upon Terra or the other side of the Imperium. He still can and does reveal to some his wisdom, and in doing so bless them with insight into his wishes. The Emperor works in mysterious ways, and his intentions are known only to him. So now I am left wondering, why did he show me what he truly is?